Welcome to Kellis Vegetation. Today I'm going to walk you through the basic operation of a Honda D-30 pump motor. This is the standard setup on most of our KVM spray trucks. On the right side you see the actual pump motor. On top you see a green suction hose that draws water from the tank to the pump motor. The black hose coming out of the back side goes to the hose reel, and the hose on the left side returns to the tank. On the back side of the pump motor you'll see a red toggle switch. It's the on-off switch. Flip it up to turn the motor on. On the side of the pump motor, the top slide bar is your throttle control. To the left, Rabbit is higher RPMs. To the right, the Turtle is lower RPMs. Below that, you have a choke slider. All the way to the left chokes the motor. Choking the motor, especially the first time you crank it or during cold weather, makes it a lot easier to crank. Below that, you have your fuel on-off. To the left, cuts the fuel supply to the motor off. To the right, cuts the fuel supply on. With the switch up and choke on, pull the pull cord to start the motor. Once your motor is running, you can turn your choke off. On top of the motor, you'll see a pressure bell. It'll have different settings, 1 through 4 on your pressure. You should never have to run your motor on 4. You should be able to achieve adequate pressure on 1 through 3. If you're having to run your pump motor on 4, chances are you have another issue that needs to be looked at. To engage the pressure bell, once you have it set on a pressure setting, you just flip the front down to engage the pressure. There's several things that can lead to pressure loss in your spray setup. The biggest one you'll encounter is a clogged filter. Very common problem and very easy to fix. To check your filter, first you want to turn the ball valve off that goes to the hose reel. And then you unscrew the filter housing from the pump motor. There's an O-ring in there. Be sure you don't lose that. Once you remove the housing, you'll see the filter, the yellow filter right there inside. You can pull that out and see what's clogging it up. Anything that's in your tank will find its way to this filter and clog it up. There's several ways to clean this filter out. If you're at the shop, spraying it out with a water hose or a pressure washer is a good way to do it. If you're in the field, you're not going to have that option. I found that you can take an empty chemical jug, put the filter inside it, put a few ounces of gas in there and shake it up real good, and it'll get any gunk or grime off of your filter. You should be good to go. When replacing the filter housing, like I said, there's an O-ring right there. Good time to inspect it. Make sure it's not cracked or deformed. If it's not on there, you're not going to be able to achieve adequate pressure. You're going to suck air in through the filter housing. Replacing the filter housing, make sure you screw this on by hand. Both pieces of this are plastic. If you put a pair of channel locks on there and over tighten it, you're going to crack it and lead to more pressure loss. The suction hose on top often gets cracks in it. You'll see the black rubber between the green plastic right there. It'll dry rot and start to suck air. If that ever occurs real close to the actual pump motor, you should be able to cut a few inches of that off and replace it. If you need to use a knife or a box cutter or anything, make sure you're wearing your proper PPE. Another common problem, improper fitment of the threaded nut that goes onto the pump motor. Especially if you're antifreezing, this often doesn't get put back on real well. There's also an O-ring in there. If you ever take this off, be sure to check your O-ring. Make sure that it's actually seated in the top well and screwed all the way down. Again, don't over tighten this with channel locks. Both pieces are plastic and you will crack them. Shutting down the pump motor, simply back of the motor, flip the switch to the off position and your pump motor is shut down. Thank you for watching, and as we always say at Kellis, do the little things right.